Okay, folks. Hey, Nordic. Good evening to you, too. Even though you're not showing as a viewer. Internet works in mysterious ways. See if I can wake up, because I'm kind of tired tonight. Not mentally tired, but physically kind of tired. Get some of these encroaching things out of the way. And I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do tonight. We will putz around here and see. We've got 3 more light cavalry units to put together. And see if we can't do that. And clean some of this stuff out of the way. I distract real easy. Just have a job where I get pulled off task constantly. I don't want any of that shit while I'm here. I get paid for annoyances like that. Okay. Same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world. That's only on Mondays. I thought it was really funny that the Little Wars guys game night is also on Mondays. I would actually rather it be on a weekend. But sometimes we're traveling, so it means I wouldn't game that week. But I still would rather it be on a weekend. Or, you know, Friday night or something like that. Friday night's not a bad night. But, okay. We have to, about time to clean this thing off. Give it a good wipe. Elmer's glue doesn't need to be up here. All right. We need to start picking some winners and losers. Heffalump. That's definitely going to be in the army. There's no doubt about that. 2 of these guys on foot, they're definitely going to be in the army. Let's take the glasses off so I can see. I personally don't like gaming on a night before work day. Yeah, me neither. I certainly don't like drinking on a night before work day. I don't remember last time I went over to Mitch's and had a drink. I don't need to. I'm also a morning person. So, let's see what we got here. Joe wanted 6 Saloy figures, and I think I got some guys for him, so. I should have enough of these guys right here. 1, 2, 3, and these guys are legitimate Huns. 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's put them in a baggie. I'm going to put them in a baggie, and we're going to put them with my stuff so I don't leave them here. For Joe. Okay. Yeah, you're not showing up like you're a viewer. You hiding from the Chinamen again? You'll know one way or the other about the job interview I went yesterday by the end of the next week. Good. How long have you been unemployed? The hardest thing about a job is looking for it. That's a pain in the ass, because you don't know if you're wasting your time, you know? Okay, these guys are Tang archers. We don't need them. This is... what do we got here? These guys are a different elephant. This is like some kind of Islamic elephant. This is a cool elephant. We're going to save it for somebody else. Maybe a Ghaznavid elephant or something like that. All right. That's why he's all together. Well, we'll get him out of this zone. This one, I believe, is by Outpost War Game Services, which is I think kaput. The owners had some health issues. This one goes with them as well. I'll put both of these elephants in here. This is actually a nice casting. It's got, definitely looks like he's armored with some other details and stuff on there, and his whole head is armored. Some of the crew members are in here go with this elephant, so I really should put both of these together. Yeah, I heard that a couple months ago that the owner of Outpost War Game Services has got some kind of a problem. He had to shut down shop. Whew. That sucks. For him too. I mean, we're just painting stupid figures, you know. Let's move this a bit closer so we don't miss it. What else we got over here? Byzantine guy, you get right on out of here. Stuff I should have picked up afterwards. Okay, so here's some foot Mongols that we decided not to use as the foot guys in the stand. Since 2019, with most of the time because of health issues and then the pandemic, just threw a monkey wrench into everything. Wow. 3 years? Wow. That's rough. Yeah, I hope you can turn that around. Okay, these guys are priests. I don't know why the hell they're here, but they're out of here. See ya! What's this? This is some Byzantine horses. See ya! Okay, these guys are light horse. These guys are light horse. These are the cavalry figures. These are the horses for all the forged in battle. The wolves, we're not going to worry about that until we get to the commanders. Okay, we definitely need this. And here's the bowman. We need to do 3 more light cavalry guys. Okay, and three more light cavalry that are gladiator, and 3 more that are forged in battle. Okay, so we're definitely going to use these 2, and we need 1 more light cavalry guy. Is this him? It is. Okay, so they're all taken care of. We just need 3 more forged in battle guys to go with them. Got it. Okay. I really don't even want to paint today, but got to try to at least make an attempt. Maybe I won't paint. Maybe I'll just assemble things. Mr. Nettles, welcome. Yeah. Well, hopefully you can get a job maybe that works from home. I mean, sounds like that would actually benefit you. I would love to work from home just one day in my life ever. Just once. Like I said, I'd kick so much ass, I'd make sure they wouldn't want me back in the office. Just take a little bit of this glue off. Reuse the heck out of these. So I finally got the guy from Gladiator finally put pictures of those colonial Russians, and other people would think they're probably really archaic looking. I think they've got a lot of potential. So now it just depends on, am I really going to like this game? So, my favorite sound coming up. kidding about that. All right. Gotta keep you area you need or you can't even think. Okay, so here's the basis for the 3 forged in battle guys. So we need 3 forged in battle folks. Possibility with a job interview, work from home some of the time. While I'm not bothered by the issues, it's a pretty good day. Yeah. Well, let's see who we got here for forged in battle. These guys are the cavalry. They're armored. Bye-bye. That's not going to use them right now. Okay. Okay, so these are the light horse guys with bows. We're not going to use any of them because all 3 of these guys have bows. Okay, so we're going to use them. We're going to use the guys with weapons, with hand weapons. And I'd like to use guys that I haven't used already, because I only have 1 hand weapon guy in the other in the 5 stands that I got so far. So who do we got here? I'd also rather not use guys with shields. I got enough guys with shields in the army so far. That doesn't mean they're not going to get used right now. They're just not going to get used in this white Hun batch. So here's the commander with the sword. We're going to leave him alone. Okay. This figure here, I've already used. Okay, there's nothing wrong with him. He's an awesome figure, but I've already used him as the other guy. So I'm going to set him aside, and any other guys that I have that are the same pose as him, which is him. Okay. I don't mind this guy with the javelin. This guy is bare-chested. Well, he's actually got a lot of flash on him. Well, here's the same figure. Has flash in different places. Interesting. We're going to use him as one of them. Well, this guy's got a helmet and everything. We're going to use that one as another one. And we'll use let's have 2 guys that have small shields, not just the one. Let's flash, right? Yeah, that should work. Okay. We got lots more of these guys to build. We have a lot more of these guys to build, like a bunch. Because the Xiongnu have... Well, I'm going to build 3 more stands of... And since I'm going to use half of them Gladiator, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is really 7 more stands of Light Horse, so... Oh, and I missed 2. Okay, so we'll clean those guys up, and we need some horses to ride with. Oh man. Went from having a bad day with my health stuff almost every day to now it's maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. That's awesome. Much more manageable now at the start of the pandemic. How many came in the bag? Forged in battle. 12 cavalry. Is the flash on the forged in battle stuff bad or just in a few places? Just in a few places on this guy. I thought that actually they were really minimalist when it came to that. Just got a bunch of Comanches from Warlord for Legends of the Old West. Opened them but haven't started cleaning them up yet. What rules are you going to use for that? I've actually never... The only Western fighting game I've done is this one guy that runs games at our convention. I think he used his own kind of rules, to be honest with you. and ran like a Pig Wars game, and it was all the Old West, and it was really cool because everybody played two different forces, and they were on opposite sides of the board, and they had like missions, like I had like Geronimo and three other people, and they needed to get off the opposite side of the board, and that was it. That's there's that's what you get to do, and whatever you do along the way, that's kind of your own role playing aspect. And then I had to play some Mexican banditos. I had to break into a bank, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was a really cool game because you didn't have a whole lot of figures to mess with, and you were on opposite sides of the board, so you weren't like stuck in a corner, and nothing exciting ever happened there, kind of thing. So, Warhammer Historical Legends of the Old West. Huh. I've never played one. I'm not opposed to it. Now, and that's considering somebody who hasn't seen very many Westerns, because I have not seen very many Westerns. It's just not a... I've said this before, you get a lot of things from your dad. Sometimes it's good things, sometimes it's bad things, but I got my love of history from my dad. Not wargaming, that's kind of my own thing. He never was a war gamer. But he never watched any Westerns, so I never got into the Western stuff. I've only seen a handful of them. And yeah, do you like the plastic figures, or you're ambivalent about them, or... I'm surprised how expensive they are. I think they're handy if you're going to customize them, but I just got done painting two stands that had 6 of the exact same figure and had no problem with it. I used to build 1/35th scale stuff, and I remember putting the multi-part figures together, but... Mr. Doug, welcome. Older rule set. That's okay. It's just an older rule set. It's a rule set that they probably wanted to discontinue. And they said, we don't want people to play this anymore. So you're sticking it to the man by saying, nope, I'm still playing it. 2832. So now the scale creep figures have scale creep on top of them. Would love to build my own 28mm skirmish games table. You're a huge Western fan. I am intrigued by the period. I would like to come up with the names of the characters. I think something that would be a similar type of period, hear me out, I know this isn't going to make any sense, or maybe it does make sense if you think about it a little bit. Three Musketeers. It's like the Three Musketeers type of thing. It is, but it isn't. So, what was the rule set that I used to heard of? Fistful of Lead, or I don't know. I'd want to come up with the characters' names. Not every period can appeal to everyone. There's a lot of stuff available for Western stuff, in a lot of scales. There's paper terrain, there's paper buildings. I know that may sound like unappealing, but they look really good. I don't watch Western, but I played quite a bit of Red Dead Redemption. Does that count? A lot of it, actually. So the alloy that's unforged in battle is pretty darn hard. So you got to be careful. You'll snap the thing off, and that actually happened to me on one bow. Starting to sound like I'm giving these guys a teeth cleaning. Yeah, like this alloy is really, really hard. See if we can clean that one little bit off there. Recently bought Dead Man's Hand. See, both of those sound the same. I know they don't, but they both sound like they're really cool, name-wise. Play Musketeers Narrative 28. That sounds like a lot of fun. I played when it was awesome. You get to do ridiculous French accents the whole time. I mean, what's not to like? Came with 14 more lawmen and outlaws. Also had a blacksmith building to build. Foreground? No, I think they just announced that they're going out of business. Do the Clint Eastwood movies count as westerns? Of course. Some of them, yeah. Not Where Eagles Dare. Not that one. Gran Torino also doesn't count. It's funny. All the ones of his that I've seen are not westerns. I've seen Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I've seen most of it. I think I watched like 90% of the way through, and I never did finish the ending. Something happened. I think it was taken off. Skylab, welcome. So my dad watched with me and had garlic toast and watched the spaghetti westerns. There you go. Pale Rider and Unforgiven are westerns. I watched Unforgiven not too long ago and I wasn't impressed. I know it's probably sacrilege. I didn't think it aged well, and it's not that old of a movie. I mean, what is it, 91 or 92? That's not that old. I mean, I don't think it's old. Escape from Alcatraz counts as a western, Tony. It takes place in California. Knuckle Duster miniatures. Yeah, I'd play it. I'd want some Mexican banditos. And who is it? War Games Foundry makes some real cool cats. Oh, geez. Slinging this thing around. Well, wise man once said, I can't be into everything. I'll play it, but those games, you're not playing that many guys, so if you're going to do something in 28, I would think that that's really ideally suited towards that. That's what that big game that I played, it was in 28s. And yes, I've seen Tombstone multiple times. 92. Yeah, 92 was just the other day. A lot of the miniatures are designed to look like famous Western heroes and villains of similar suggested narratives. My son has Mexican banditos, and he went with all hand weapons and overran my Texas Rangers in a jailbreak scenario. I think if you restrict yourself to just skirmish level games where each side has under 20 miniatures, you can be in a lot of periods. Yeah, you could. Absolutely. So getting close, about a month, I'm going to play that old Blood and, what's it called? Blood and Steel. And I'm either going to get into Colonial period, Not heavy. We're still going to do that on the just side. I just want to paint some individual figures. Or I'm going to go WW2. I'm not going to do both. I don't have time to do both. You know, they each have their advantages. I think the advantage of doing colonial, it'll be a lot easier to do terrain. A lot easier to do terrain. You know, you could either, you know, there's a difference between painting a Normandy cafe or a pile of rocks in Absurdistan, you know. So a pile of rocks gets painted a shitload easier. The funny thing is that I looked at pictures today of Afghanistan, and I think the basing that I'm doing for the Huns right now would work perfectly for it. Really close in ground texture. But it would either be colonials and 15s or my 20 millimeter World War II. So, okay, so we got these guys cleaned up. Let's get some horses for these guys. Now, there's some of these that come like draped, almost like they have like a little cloth on them. I'm going to avoid them. I'm going to use them for the command stand. So one of these, it's the same horse. One of those, and one of those. Okay. Let's put these horses away. Actually, let me see if I can find one of this one that has a little bit less flash on it. No, one just has just as much. I mean, if you're not going to use all the horses, you might as well grab the ones that have the least amount of flash. Make it easier on you. No. This one has a little bit less. Okay. Came with the same horses, depending on whether it was cavalry, or it was the heavier guys, whether it was the lighter guys with bows or lighter guys with hand weapons. They're all the same horses, so I just threw them all together. Let's clean these guys up. Fun games. You have to ask yourself, what appeals to you more, World War II or Colonial? All those horses from Forge and Battle, they are. World War II appeals to me more, but the freedom of being able to create an imaginations in Colonial is what appeals to me about Colonial. And there's no vehicles to work out. And it'll be more playable. But I don't want it to be too simple. So I've played Sword in the Flame. Sword of the Flame has too many figures on the troop on the board for my taste. I don't want to paint that many of the same thing. And I've played it before. Doesn't scratch the itch. I want something that maybe has more different ways to skin the cat. So, and World War II, I already know what rule set I'm going to use. So, doesn't matter if it moves slow. It's that or nothing. So, just mainly an excuse to paint individual folks. Oh, this guy's all cockeyed. But the terrain and stuff on the World War II is just overwhelming. Although I do want to do some, and I've got buildings to do. I've got some city block type buildings from, I believe the name of the company used to be called Queen's Hussars. And they were really expensive, and they're all like resin and stuff. They weigh a ton. Okay, this guy's pretty much cleaned up. This one. So we'll see. Nothing I got to worry about right now. But the Blood and Steel is only like, 30 figures on a side? I mean, obviously you can do whatever the hell you want. There's a point system. I'm not really interested in playing it as a tournament, so the point system doesn't really interest me. So... Okay. This has a lot of... I do have to keep my eye out. I had not realized that miniatures not being made anymore is a real thing. And that's a shame, because there's some miniatures that have been made for a long time that I have zero interest in ever buying them. And then there's some that you know, just disappeared off the face of the earth. They don't make them anymore. And those I wouldn't have minded to have them, but just one of those things. I didn't know that was a thing. No idea. Maybe that's why a lot of people have switched to plastics, because I'm sure those molds last a hell of a lot longer. You're thinking about looking into O Group for World War II in the Pacific. I'd rather do the Pacific in 15 than in 6. I'd rather not do the Pacific at all, but that's me. I'll be honest with you, it'd be fun as shit to run a bunch of Japanese and just run them like a maniac, you know? Realize you glued a unit of 16 figures to the wrong size bases. Oh. Glued them to 1 inch instead of 3/4. Anything salvageable. I mean, I rebase some of my guys and I use epoxy to glue them down. It just takes time, and you know, you'd rather be doing something productive than retrofitting. So you think O Group from 2 Fat Lardies is regimental scale with a platoon per base, so to stick with command decision. Yeah. You're contemplating everything, man. It's okay to contemplate stuff. Just don't start buying things, you know? I do a lot of figure surfing. I wonder who makes these guys. And you look for them, and you know, and you enjoy the picture, and you know, okay, which guys would I buy if I had to? Okay, I'd buy one of this and this one of that one. All right, how much would that cost? Okay, all right, that's cool. And just never purchase them, you know. Go through the exercise, but because I have a lot of stuff that I've sat on for 20 years and done nothing with them. Absolute Emperor, huh? You like that, huh? It seems like it makes DBN an even slower game. DBN's not very detailed. If I was a nappy head, if I had a nappy head, I would not want to play DBN. It just wouldn't scratch the itch. I know this is a guy that I know used to game with us, and he got his doctorate in history, and it was on Napoleonic stuff. I forget exactly what it was, but he doesn't game Napoleonics because it doesn't scratch his itch. I get it, you know. I get it. I've done operational scale World War II stuff. I don't want to do that anymore. I've done enough of them. I want to, I want to play skirmish games where the grenade lands is important. It creates the story. You throw it someplace and it lands somewhere else, and the party begins. Dun, 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 dun. And it could be a grenade fumble, or it could be it landed somewhere even better now. Jeremy Heller, welcome. You had a huge mountain of shame, but thanks to the pandemic, my mountain is no more. Good. All right, let's glue these bastards down. Oh man, we missed the fun of the flash on the front of that horse's head. Oh well, we can always get it later. All right, and then we got to be careful because some of these guys don't like to fit on certain horses, and it's usually this one. So like this figure he might not actually fit really well on there. Nope, yeah, he does. Okay, maybe it won't be an issue with these three. Let's move these off to the side because we don't want to touch them while they're doing that. All right, shooters on the. Let's see how many of these Touchouet archers we have. 3, 4. That guy's missing a bow bottom. 4, 5, 6, 7. Geez, a lot more than I thought. I guess technically I have 8. That one guy that's bad. All right, we're going to need a skirmisher for one of the armies. And I'd like to use one of these guys in the turret of the elephant. But we're going to have to modify him somehow. So, because you don't want him in the turret shooting up at the sky. It just doesn't make any sense. We're going to have to like chop one of his legs down so he sits something like this. I mean, it doesn't need to be, shooting down everybody. It just needs to be even. Probably be okay. The other Hun guy would be just fine. Yeah, even something. All right. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do that. I have to stick him deeper in there. Let's not think about that right now. Let's just hope these guys got super glued in enough. All right, so let's test fit all these guys. So if we put him here, not super glued, epoxy down. He fits in there okay. He'd fit there okay. All right, let's mix some epoxy up. Third edition didn't like the dumbing down they did with fourth. We were giving this away at StoreCon. And this is a scenario book for Age of Honor, which is a modification off of Age of Eagles, which I guess is the Napoleonic version of Fire and Fury. I played Fire and Fury, or attempted to play it a couple times, and I didn't care for it because, you know, it's ACW. And I don't like ACW at all. I don't have a problem with Napoleonic stuff. The problem with Napoleonic stuff is when I grew up, the people that were playing it just didn't seem like they were a lot of fun to play with. But, you know, Mitch has a bunch of Napoleonic stuff. But this actually, I picked this up for Joel because they play Maurice. I figured this might be useful for some of the battles and stuff. I'm actually pretty fascinated with it. When you look at stuff like, here's your order of battle, and here's the units, and it tells you what units are in there, I dig that. So if I ever go crazy and build some stuff for Maurice, I can't be into everything, though. Yeah. Yeah, they look really good. They look, you know, they look like they're well done. And Maurice is a good game. The only thing I have bad to say about Maurice is it's not very user-friendly. By the time you play your first game, you realize how to play the game. And then you play a second one and you get the hang of it. And then 6 months go by where you don't play the game, and now you don't have a clue how to play the game again, which is where I would be. So it's not user-friendly. It's not newbie-friendly. Maybe most games are that way. But we played Command and Colors Napoleonics, and I want to play that again. That was cool. I also kicked ass with Austrians, so that always helps. Yeah, I think the period would be interesting if there was lots of ways to skin the cat in the game. If it's just one of those, okay, move your guys up, shoot at each other, try to create a weak point, charge the weak point, punch through, envelop. I mean, if, it just seems like it's too much like on autopilot. But it'd be about learning about a new period that I don't know anything about. You know, other than like really basic stuff. So that's an appeal to me. I'm gonna put him there and him here. We need to wait for this epoxy to harden a little bit. You've wrecked 2/3 of the French army at Wagram as the Austrian commander. Got Medieval and the Samurai one last year. Medieval was fun, but haven't played Samurai battles. Talking about Command and Colors? I think it's a good game. I don't think that it feels like the period at all. You know, I didn't feel like I didn't feel all Napoleonic-y when I was done playing, you know. Don't mind me, I just create my own adjectives. Napoleonic-y. Okay. This guy with a javelin is a tosser. That's quite a compliment for Command and Colors. I don't know what part was. It was fun. It doesn't feel very Napoleonic-y. It doesn't. But DBA doesn't feel right either. And as much as I play it. Yeah, he was like, Mitch was like, you got to play this scenario. It's a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun. But I want to play the Austrians again. I don't want to play the guys that are supposedly the better ones. So he played it with miniatures. So they used miniatures instead of the counters. The problem with miniatures is that you kind of have to squint your brain to kind of understand what's going on. Because there's a lot of like the terrain was in 2-dimensional, wasn't in 3-dimensional, but the figures were in 3. I kind of had to think about what was where, that if it was blocks, it'd be kind of easier to figure it out. And I've played Battle Cry, I've played Memoir, I've played both of those. I played the Ancients one. The Ancients one's a lot of fun. It doesn't feel like an ancient battle to me. It's still a fun game. You know, it's a game you can finish in an evening. That's a plus. Joseph, I thought about getting Command Code Napoleon. Ultimately decided on Library Napoleon battles from Napoleon to Council County. Blucher, more of the feel had. You slipping and sliding. Keep an eye on these guys until it settles. And once it hardens, it goes from, oh, this is falling all over the place, to the, oh my God, we're stuck in the wrong pose. But you never have to worry about it again, and it fills the gaps nicely. So I'm a big fan of epoxy. Don't ever have to worry about it again. Counter and hex games or miniature game these days. I don't know if I want to be the guy to figure out new rules anymore. I'd play the World War II thing. Other than that, it's got to be real simple. I just don't have it in me anymore. I'm really motivated to paint more shit. I really am. I'm just not motivated to pore over rules, try to figure out how to play them, and getting them wrong, realize that the game that I played last time was wrong. It just, that's unpleasant. That's unpleasant shit. I want to figure shit out when I'm playing. I don't want to figure out that I'm playing them wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm older. Maybe it's just I'm burned out with trying to figure out stuff. I don't want anything I have to read takes me 30 minutes to find it and read the sentence 3 times, figure out what the hell they're trying to say. I don't want abstract shit no more. Did the Huns use small, sturdy horses? You know, the funny thing is not a whole lot is known about them. I would suspect that they do. I've painted them like they're the steppe ponies. So one of the things I started noticing is that all the illustrations of Huns do not show them with any socks. And, socks are, the white part on the bottom of the horse, which generally is very rare for a horse to not have either one sock or all 4 or something like that, or a star on their forehead. Just to reading up, it was really common for horses to have that sort of thing. But the steppe type horses don't. Their limbs end in black. They basically are really, really dark on the limbs. And if you look at drawings or illustrations of them, it's one of those things that you don't look at until you see it, and then you can't unsee it. Let me adjust this guy a little bit, and then he should be good to go, because he's not gonna move anymore. Because he's hardened. This guy needs to be like this. Oh, they got MC Hammer pants, all of these guys. Can't touch this. All right, let's let these guys dry over here. So that's one of the things that I noticed in all the illustrations is that, but these guys are just as big of a horse as anybody else. So if they're supposed to be steppe pony sized, they certainly aren't. Just stuck to games that have a lot of games in that particular system that uses the same rules. Yeah, I'm with you, Joseph. I don't like that either. I don't mind playing them. I just don't want to be the point guy on them. So, honestly, that's one of the downfalls of playing Gaslands. I was all gung ho for Gaslands, and it just got too complicated. And there's lots of loopholes in the rules. Not lots, but there's a fair amount of them. And I'm like, I just, it's. I'm leaning towards making my own rules because then you can make them however the hell you want, and they make sense, and you can present them in a way that are easy for new people to pick up. Using flowcharts and shit like that. It shouldn't be that difficult. So, I mean, it's almost easier to make up your own rules than learn a new set at this point. I mean, we know what we like, we know what we don't like, so do more of what you like and less of what you don't. Okay, so these three guys are going to go mixed in with these three. Okay, here is two of the foot guys that go with the Heffalump. Here's the Heffalump. I could probably go ahead and base the Heffalump on... I probably need to paint his underside black. That's going to be a bitch to get to. If I go ahead and base him on his 40 by 40, he's going to be a pain to get underneath there. All right, let's see if this guy needs any cleanup on him. Oh, he's got like a flag here. Cool. I was wondering what the hell he had in his hand. This thing unidirectional? Let's clean this stuff up. Put a big old casting line in the middle of this. Back to Little Wars. Yeah. Those Men of Iron, they just seem like they're just too complicated. Maybe they're not. Maybe they make sense. There's some things in that kind of a game that I'm just not willing to give up. One of them is a pip mechanism where you can't do everything you want. Like, in other words, I want a game where the players can see everything that's going on, but they can't react to it. So it's in the form of pips. Because there's no point in like all this cool stuff happening, but because of fog of war, you've hidden it from your opponent. I've played those kind of games before, and that's exclusively the kind of games I used to play. And after not playing those kind of games, let's do something we never do. It should be fine. I don't think I've got anything that's finer than that. And I'm not going to worry about it too much. I just don't want it to be raised because I'm going to paint this like fake wood anyways. That side's okay. Tony, I thought about you earlier. A local restaurant is having a Cuba night with Cuban food and drinks. Well, I could go over there and test them and make sure that they're appropriate. It's hard to get a good mojito. A good one is awesome, but it's hard to get one right. We don't have a good one in this town. I don't eat that food regularly. Use blind chit draw to activate units for the Hex Encounter games I play, Tony. Yeah, there you go. I'm kind of hoping the Colonial doesn't work out. Because I really like this World War II rule system. And it's real anal retentive, but it's real straightforward. Pull a chit, that person does an action. You just have to have a list of what are the actions you can do, and then they're easy to figure out. That's it. They're done. Nothing else happens. There's no opportunity fire. You know, go to the next person. Done. It moves slow, but it's not confusion. So, all right, let's, oh, we already got the epoxy around here somewhere. Let's just glue this bastard down. Let's glue this big boy down. Not glue him down, but glue the turret on him. I always like it when people, I was thinking about you. Oh boy. I used to kid with this guy at work. I said, hey, I was thinking about you yesterday. Oh yeah, really? What was it? Well, I was taking this big shit. I'd always screw with him with that. It's always funny what makes you think about somebody else. Sounds like you want to do World War II, but are trying to give yourself an out with the colonial stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I like the made up land stuff, you know. It's hard to make up stuff with the World War II stuff. I can't be silly with it. Silly things may happen, but I can't be silly with it. So it's just, that's the difference. Is this going to touch here? I don't think I'm going to put any on the of the little supports, because I think if it touches on one side, it doesn't on the other. I want it like that or this way. Let's do it this way. Ooh, if it's better the other way, go figure. The colonial stuff is easier because you don't have to figure out, oh, I need another Mark IV. Well, which kind? You know, you don't have that discussion. Just build a freaking wagon. Okay. I'm going to set him off to the side. These guys should be dry enough to paint black. Let's go ahead and do that. I want to do a modern Africa thing too. Make believe modern Africa. It's just overwhelming with all the vehicles and shit like that. You need to like be real small. Okay, do a squad. Do 5 guys. All right, you got those 5 guys done. Okay, do another 5. All right, do 10. Do 5 for this one. All right, you got enough forces to play. Go build some huts. All right, build a something else. So where is she? Oh, moved it to a new location. Have you ever tried building a World War II diorama or vignette? I have, and I hate it. That's why I stopped doing 1/35th scale. It's analysis paralysis. I hate it. It's painter's block for me. It's one of those things that you see somebody else's diorama and you're like, oh, it's really cool. But you do your own stuff and you see all the mistakes you did. Of course, you don't realize that the other person that painted his diorama, they see all the mistakes too. So, I don't do modeling anymore. It's a lot of work for just to sit there. And I don't mind building models, but they're 1/72nd scale. And scale with the figures. Alright, this guy's glued enough. Alright, cool. Let's paint his ass now. And the last time I played World War II Skirmish, it didn't go well because we ran it only in a 4-hour session. We ran it with people that never played the rules before, and I had people on both sides. I would have everybody on one side, and then you could just ask. You're not trying to outdo other players, It saves a lot of time. And ultimately, I'm not trying to win. I just want to be a really interesting narrative. Like, you'll never believe what just happened. You only build or paint World War I or World War II subject. What World War I subject would you paint? I hate the trench warfare stuff. It's just stagnation. Just doesn't interest me. I mean, yeah, I'd do World War I, just do something different. That, either 1914 or... I might go and rent The Man Who Would Be King, which I've seen before. I think it would have been free somewhere, but it's not. So I may splurge the $4 or whatever, and man, I've seen it before. I'm actually reading the book on Audible right now, and it's actually pretty good. But I ought to finish the book first and then watch the movie and just see how they compare. I always like comparing those two things. Something I haven't been able to do much because I'm usually reading stuff that they don't make movies of. But I've seen the movie once before. a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago. World War I tanks. God, those things are ugly. What time is it? Jeez. It got late. Yeah, we're not going to do any painting tonight. Well, I mean, if this counts as painting, then yes. If it doesn't, then no. Tonight I did the two things I disliked the most. That's cleaning the flash off figures and priming them. But hey, it's part of it. I was kind of tired anyways, so it's a necessary evil doing this. Remember a long time ago, I never primed my figures. I've always primed my figures since I've been painting figures. But back when I used to do like my ships and micro armor, I didn't prime them things. I just, painted them on top. I was a kid. I didn't know any better. I was stupid. All right, how solid is this thing? Good enough that we can get underneath here. It's not going to mess anything up. And it is technically an armored elephant. It is an elephant superior, considered in DBMM, and probably DBM as well. An elephant superior. So we're going to have some people on foot around them. But it's armored, but it's not going to be metal armored. It's going to be scale. A lot easier to justify that. And I want it looking brownish. Very brownish. I don't mean the elephant skin. I don't paint my elephants brown. Elephants aren't brown. They just get dusty. So, I like my elephants looking like they just got out of the car wash. Somebody was saying on some post, like, everybody paints their elephants the wrong color. I said, no, they paint them clean. Elephants are not brown animals. They just like playing in the dirt. Cooling off, fighting off insects, all that stuff. I think this would be my fourth elephant. I don't have that many. I actually have a lot. I just haven't painted that many. You built so far a Mark 1 and a Mark 4. I have a Renault World War One tank to use by Germans for anti-partisan duties in France. They're ugly, but they build up and paint up nice. Would like to build a complete World War One planes. Yeah, and the Germans didn't have, they had so few tanks, and they were very, 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 very late. Very late. Those A7s, and I think they may have made a smaller, like, light tank looking thing. Yeah. Well, I'm going to let these guys dry, and that's going to be it for me tonight. How long have we been on here? No, just a little bit over an hour. Well, I wanted to do something, so we at least put some paint on, some primer on stuff. But we're gonna roll with these light horse next time. Get these 6 light horse painted, base them up, and then we'll roll full bore into the elephant. So that's gonna be a nice piece. So okay, folks. Well, thanks for coming by. Until next time, happy painting. See you, folks. Bye bye.